Sleeves here with the Senior Pickleball Report, powered by TNC Network. Let's get it going. Today we are talking to Jojo+Lo, and we'll introduce who they are in the interview. But they are an apparel company that is taking pickleball by storm, and is big business starting to roll into pickleball as all these companies start to gather momentum from the sport that just doesn't seem to have no end to it. Jojo+Lo is one of those cool companies that have come out of this wave of pickleball madness. But before we get started, if you like that kind of interview or that kind of content, hey, consider subscribing to the channel. We'd really appreciate your subscription. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think of the interviews and the content as well. Check out our links in the description for our socials. There's things always being updated. And also check out our newsletter. We'd like you to subscribe to that. Get your daily fix of pickleball news, plus all the discounts for shoes and paddles in the description. Let's get to that interview with Jojo+Lo. All right, welcome finally to the Senior Pickleball Report. Backstory later. To Jojo+Lo. Welcome.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
really great to have you. Teresa Tarn introduced us, I think in 2012. I know it was about 3 months ago, and said I should touch base with y'all. And I had come across your work and your company and your fabulous attire months ago. I think I was Instagram friends with you and all that stuff. But
right,
to touch base with somebody who's out there doing things besides just whacking the ball, but actually building this sport from a very important end, apparel.
Yes.
I'm so glad to talk to you. So thanks again
we
for
are
really,
too.
Yeah,
for
thanks for inviting us.
Absolutely. So, hey, I mean, you just don't start a company without a friendship. So let's talk about how that began and give us a little backstory about, how you came to be as friends.
Well, we were actually tennis partners, if you can believe that. And we were really good tennis partners.
Super good.
We were really good.
Yeah.
And, like winning nonstop. But so I had a couple knee injuries and a couple knee surgeries, and needed to make the switch. Had some stem cells put in, and the doctor said, you just need to give up tennis. It's too much torquing. It's too much impact. And so I started playing pickleball a long time ago, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But I got Jodi to switch from tennis to pickleball, but she still does play tennis. But she was my favorite tennis partner, so I had to get her into pickleball. So
I
relented after a lot of asks.
Yeah, a lot of asks and a few lessons, and boy, she took off quickly. So now I love it. She beats me a lot.
It's so fun. Like, love it.
Yeah. So my little.
So a lot of people. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say a little fun fact is So Simone Jardim used to play at our club, Michigan Athletic Club, when she was the Michigan State tennis coach. Right. And a good friend of mine was a good friend of hers. And so we'd be eating lunch at the MAC, the Michigan Athletic Club, and Simone would come in. She'd be like, come play pickleball with me. I'm loving this new sport. And so she was just getting into pickleball, and she was looking for people to play. So my friend Becky and I played with her a number of times. So, I mean, I learned from the best from the very beginning, which I, would have gone as far as she went. But I really got fortunate. And Catherine Parento was one of her, tennis players on her team. So Catherine was playing at the MAC. Just a lot of Corinne Carr, if you know Corinne, she was playing at the MAC. Athena was playing at the MAC. Just all these superstars. Dan Howard, I don't know if you know Dan. DJ Howard.
DJ. Yeah.
So it's kind of a little hotbed of pickleball in East Lansing, Michigan.
But it really is a small pickleball world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
it is.
Everybody has connections.
For sure. Once you get into the pickleball business, or even just go to tournaments, you start recognizing all these familiar faces, which is fun.
Right. Right.
But it's growing so fast. I hope it doesn't grow so fast that,
Yeah.
when we started our business, there were 5 million players. And I think the latest number is right around 35 million.
That's
So
insane.
the community doesn't explode to the point where we, can't recognize
Right.
friends anymore. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is about Michigan, but, a lot of really good pickleball players come out of there. I mean, Eva Welsher's out of there too. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's an incredible place for pickleball. And obviously the Beer City Open is what I think kind of becoming legendary because it's its own entity on some levels and it does its own thing. And, I think that's fun. And I grew up, in Wisconsin. So I went to the University of Wisconsin. So we don't really like, Michigan, but
Spartans? We're
both.
not Badgers. We're Wolverines.
Yeah, you're not Wolverines. We dislike Wolverines more. Yeah.
No, we're Spartans. So.
Yeah, and I had I had taught with a bunch of people who moved from Michigan to Arizona, and so anytime I would ask them where they were from in Michigan, they would do the whole like, well, I'm like here.
Yeah. And that's right where we are. You nailed it right in the middle.
Right. Go Sparty. So, okay, let's talk about, we touched on your pickleball journeys a little bit. And Jojo, many people they don't stick with tennis. Like they find pickleball and they are done. You are doing both, which is not easy on the body, especially for somebody who would be my age. I could not do both. I played tennis a little bit recreationally. And just my shoulder just couldn't take it after a while because of the overhand serve. So talk about doing both and how you balance that a little bit.
Well, initially it was hard to go back and forth. I would say that pickleball really hurt my tennis game in the beginning. But actually it's improved my tennis game, my net play. So that's great. But I like singles. And I'm a terrible singles pickleball player, but a good singles tennis ball player.
Oh, that's interesting.
Tennis player. So I just couldn't give it up, and I love to run. And I really do feel like as a singles player, you get a better workout in tennis.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. No, so I mean, I like them equally now. I love it. And if I can play like both in one day, yay.
Wow. Good for you.
And she does.
Yeah. Nobody likes you. Cut it out.
I know. Wow.
Well, let's get into jojo'Lo, the business, the company, the apparel. Can you walk us through the genesis of that, the idea in forming it? And it's become quite the hit in a very short period of time. So talk about that as well, sort of that quick journey of we're going to do this. And then boom, now we're at huge professional tournaments and, Pickleball Central's picking up our stuff. So talk a little bit about how it became an idea to what, now you're in Pickleball Central's, site. So.
Well, honestly, we're blown away by how quickly it's grown. We didn't expect this. We were enjoying every minute of it. But when we launched jojo'Lo, it was really out of the need for something cute to wear. We were heading to Arizona and we were going to play in the Arizona Grand Slam at the JW Marriott. And this is during COVID. Like if this was a girls' trip, we had a couple other friends lined up and we just needed to get out of Michigan. We needed to have some fun. And so Jodi and I were going to play as partners in the tournament. And it's maybe 2 weeks before the tournament. We're looking online together. We're on the phone. And I'm like, well, what about this? What about this? And we couldn't find anything. And what we did find was a lot of dancing pickles and pickleballs with smiley faces. And we just thought, oh my gosh, we could, like Jodi's a graphic artist. Like we can put those talents to use and create really cute stuff that we want to wear. Right. So that's really how it launched. It took a little while to kind of get it started, but once we got the ball rolling, it keeps rolling. So it's been great.
Yeah, and it helps to have somebody who's got some skill sets in graphic design for sure. I mean, so talk a little bit about maybe your background, Jojo, in graphic design and what you're bringing to the table with the company.
Okay, so I have been a freelance graphic designer for like over 20 years now. And my fun projects are designing t-shirts and logos and doing branding. But that wasn't my bread and butter. So once Lori and I like put our heads together, I'm like, oh, this will be my creative outlet, designing like apparel for Jojo+Lo. So I'm still freelancing, and I have a daughter, so I have like 3 jobs, and I like to play pickleball and tennis. So I'm spread pretty thin, but
wonder it took 3 months.
She loves vacations too.
She does. She's gone. Yeah, that's awesome. New paddle company, Pickle, PCKL, great paddle line, great price points. Anything you want from starter paddle to intermediate to a pro series high level paddle. Check them out. Get 15% off using my discount code. Pickle. It's the future.
Are you looking to stay up to date on the latest pickleball news and tips? Look no further than the Sleeves Senior Pickleball Report newsletter. Get the scoop on the sport, learn how to stay healthy while playing, and find out about upcoming tournaments. Subscribe now to get all the pickleball info you need.
But yeah, so we have a great focus group. When we come up with an idea for design, we'll run it by them, and we get like really great feedback. So
what was so exciting is the first few designs that we created, we would wear to our Michigan Athletic Club, and people would be so excited about it, and then they're like, we want to order them. So when you go now to our club, everybody's wearing JoJo+Lo, and we knew
cool
we
to
were
see that.
onto something when they started buying it, and they're like, you know, they're our peers, they're our friends, and they were all buying it. We're like, okay, we got something good going here. And now when we go across the country, you know, we see our stuff, and that's super exciting. We'll go down to Naples and play pickleball, and we see JoJo+Lo, and
that's really wild.
Fun.
Yeah, it's super rewarding.
Yeah, you're sort of celebrities.
We're celebrities.
Let me sign that.
No.
In the pickleball world, people know who you are.
Well, that's good. We want them to know who we are. We want them to wear our stuff. So
right. So let's talk about being women and moving the world a little bit in pickleball. There are more and more women seeing to come into the landscape really with businesses, and obviously the best player in the world is, you know, beyond even if you look at the difference between Ben and Anna Lee is here compared to her peers. So talk about being a woman in pickleball, establishing this company, and really, you know, taking the lead, and I think really kind of moving the sport in a direction that it needs to go, keeping it fun.
Keeping it fun, and also, you know, pickleball is a serious sport. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't have comical looking, you know, shirts. We wanted it to represent a sport that is very athletic. And so, so we kind of, that was one of our themes early on, was let's change the image of pickleball one t-shirt at a time. And so make it a little bit cooler than, you know, those lime green dancing pickles. So,
right.
Yeah, so that's kind of been one of our motives in doing this too. And as women in business, we're just blown away. People have been so helpful. I mean, just reaching out to us and offering us whatever to do a story on us, to help us, you know, do some creative posts. They give us design ideas. They're very helpful as I said to Jodi a little while ago, like, if we need something, we just got to ask for help, because people are willing to share their knowledge and their time and their talents. And sometimes you just have to ask, and people will come through for you.
Right. And I think that you mentioned before about growing so fast. And right now there's this beautiful community in pickleball, and you see it in every sort of facet. You see it at the senior level, the Champions Tour. You know, those folks compete hard against one another, and at the end of the day, you know, they're out having dinner, and there's these friendships. And then obviously, I would imagine it's the same thing when you're at a tournament, and there's different vendors. You all get to know each other over time and stuff like that. So building the community is really what you're doing, and which is fantastic. So talk about that really, and you know, because you touched on it a little bit, and what that means to you going forward as far as building your brand and having this community kind of stay tight like this.
Well, building our brand is we just do everything we can, tournaments, social media.
Yeah.
We message people on LinkedIn. We'll do anything to get our name out there.
Yeah.
And you're right, it is a challenge because there are more brands joining, but I think there's room for all of us.
Yeah.
And everybody does something a little bit differently. And we've had people reach out to us and say, hey, I'm doing a line of jewelry. Can you give me pointers on your website? Like, what template did you use? And, we've been helped by so many people, by this community, by this pickleball community, that we are trying to pay it forward and do the same with newer businesses and just share what knowledge we do have.
We also had a launch party in October of 2021. And how many of our closest friends came?
About 45 of our closest friends.
Wow.
And they all agreed to be
brand ambassadors.
So
we
gave them one free shirt and loaded them up with business cards. And they were the initial kind of face of JoJo+Lo and really helped us get the word out. And now we have affiliates. We talked about Rick Witskin and Teresa Tarn, Drew Holder. There's a whole Sarah Ansbury, a lot of incredibly talented pickleball players who love our stuff. They want to wear it on and off the court. So they've approached us and said, hey, can we represent your brand? And we're like, absolutely. So we load them up with some fun, cute JoJo+Lo and set them free, and they talk about us.
Right. Well, and not just great pickleball players, but everybody you mentioned, they're really good quality people.
Absolutely. Absolutely the best.
I don't think jerks play pickleball.
Jerks don't play pickleball.
No, I'm sure they don't.
They probably play tennis.
Maybe a little there, but so let's talk about the new collection, Dink Like a Girl. And I think, I don't know, if I read somewhere, I think it was on your blog, that it's going to be on your site today. Is that correct?
Today, and I need to get it out there.
Which, by the way, is my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Hey, so it's get some good mojo going with the JoJo+Lo launch. Right on.
Like a girl shirt.
I didn't even realize that. I was reading. I'm like, oh, it's today that you were doing the launch. I knew it went on Pickleball Central earlier. So
this was a collaborative project that we've been affiliated with Pickleball Central. They've been selling our stuff at tournaments, and we've done a couple of tournaments with them in their shop. And so they just launched us about
right before Mother's Day.
Yeah, right before Mother's Day. And
great.
They wanted a collection just for them. And that is our Dink Like a Girl collection. And so they wanted it for 1 month to be exclusive to them.
Sure.
And so that's why we waited that month, and we're going to launch it today and get it up on our website. But there are 6 pieces, including the one that we already have on there. So 6 pieces to this collection.
Okay.
The point of it was kind of to encourage moms to play with daughters. And that's why they launched it on Mother's Day. I mean, Anna Lee Waters and Lee Waters, and then you've got Georgia Johnson and her mom. So it's just a fun sport. And we're moms, and we both have one daughter. And so it's really
right on.
We play with our daughters, So so that's what this collection's all about. It's really just about empowering everybody. I mean, pickleball empowers everybody anyhow.
It does.
But it's about empowerment, and just anytime anybody has ever said, you can't do that, or you do that wrong, this pickleball gives you that chance to just, there's always the next point, and you can always play it better. So that's kind of what the collection's about.
Yeah.
Right.
But add to that.
No, I was just about to say, in your blog, you wrote about how people used to say, "Oh, you throw like a girl." And this is kind of like
right.
In your face.
Yeah.
Girls are.
Yeah. And there's some pretty, like you said, badass pickleball players that are girls.
Oh, well, my wife's a prime example. My wife has not become a fanatic like I have, or anybody else that I play with around here. She plays once a week and just walks on the court. It just stomps on people. She's just one of those people. She's just, she's a great athlete. She has really good court sense in anything she ever plays. She knows how to move people around. And she's coached other sports. So it's one of those things where she's like, when anybody, because we'll have somebody pop off some guy once in a while, and she doesn't take much to rile her up against boys. So she will, as she calls them when they start getting a little dumb.
We need to get her a trucker.
Yeah.
She'll tag them. So I kind of glad she only plays once a week because she would just own me otherwise. So
That's funny.
but no, I appreciate I think it's a great line. I think it's a great collection. Talk about some of the other collections you have, because you have quite a few. And I was perusing through them the other day. So mention some of those and what those are about.
I still love some of our original designs, like our third eye design, which is
I got it right here.
I love it. Yeah,
Eye
that's
on
better.
the ball, and then Dink, 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 Smash, I think was our very first design.
Yeah.
Which is retro feeling, and that like inspired our retro collection.
Right.
Then our chill collection is more of our like super like simple, like just, oh, can you see this, Pickle?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Okay, yeah. So in the chill line is basically unisex, men and women both love it. They wear it.
Right.
Interchangeable.
And Dinker and Banger are in there.
Right.
We just added on Lobber because we all know those lobbers and they
That's
own
right.
it.
Yeah,
and
they
we
own
thought
it.
about Poacher, but that didn't go over so well. Save the elements or elephants.
Right. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Cool. You could do a hippie line, man. You could do I'll do a little modeling.
Cool tie-dye stuff out there. We have
the hipster. Well, we
do
have
have a hipster
we
line.
have
You do have a hipster line. That's right. Yeah.
We could expand it some.
We need to expand it. But yeah, we have Ernie in there, which is just kind of a cool hip kind of shot, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what Ernie is, though, like the general public.
But we think
but they will.
like it's gonna explode pretty soon. Ernie's gonna explode.
Well, that's the thing. You're literally. I mean, I think sometimes people maybe forget this, and I don't know if you do, but you're on the forefront of something, as we all know, is this giant wave, and you are one of the early pioneers coming in doing apparel. 5 years from now, who knows what this looks like and where you are and what the company is, but at this time, you're going to be the OGs as far as this goes. Like, who started this? And it's like, well, they did. And so I think I think at some level you have to look at some of the ground that you're breaking. And I think this Dink Like a Girl line is a perfect example of that. You're doing things before anybody else is doing them in a sport that is really just starting to generate huge amounts of momentum.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. We got kind of lucky when we hit the market.
Yeah. And thank you. Yeah. That's very kind of you to say that. We hope we do continue to explode over the next 5 years. And
you will. You will.
Yeah.
You're doing great things, and I can tell you're still excited about this, and you still have a lot of enthusiasm about it. And I think it shows in your products too. I mean, it's really cool. It's cool stuff. So
we go back and look at our text thread, and I just like bust out laughing. Some of our greatest ideas like come at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. I know, it's ridiculous. And this one doesn't sleep, so I can text her at 3 a.m. and she'll respond.
Right.
And then we get up and go hit the courts in the morning.
Right.
Yeah,
cool.
it's been a total blast, and just going to the big tournaments, and Anna Lee will come by. We give her a hat, and Riley Newman. I mean, all these great people.
It's just so fun.
Tyson, they'll come by and just meet us, and Kelly Jo, she's worn our stuff. So I'm not trying to name drop, but it's just to us, thrilling because we're like, oh my gosh, they like our stuff.
Yeah, and and it's just starting. So
yeah. Right.
I mean, this thing, once this explodes more on television and people wearing your stuff on television.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't joking about the whole celebrity thing before, so you better get that little blue check.
Oh my gosh.
So let's talk about what's coming up. Maybe, you don't have to go into specifics, but like what you hope this becomes for you, specifically for the two of you, as friends moving forward. And as the company moving forward. So where do you like to see this go in the next couple of years?
Well, we actually have a collaboration with, I don't know if you've heard of the brand Pickleball 1965.
I have,
they
yes.
were actually one of the pioneers, I think, in pickleball.
Oh yeah,
apparel.
they've been around for at least 5 years.
Yeah. We actually met the owner, Randy Sussman, at the Beer City Open, and he invited us to a tournament in Atlantic City. and we become friends, and we just put our heads together recently. We're like, we want to do something like really like upscale and resorty, and he has connections. Like, he works with a Miami-based designer who's amazing, so we can kind of be like the creative part of the collaboration, and he's like the get it done people. Man, he has connections.
Yeah. So we're going to start off small, but we're going to do a little bit more upscale. It's going to be a couple of women's tops and a skirt, and perhaps socks and a visor. Yeah. Just a small collection, but it's for partners to wear on the court, because what we've discovered what we've discovered is that women like to match their partners, and even men like to match their partners, or mixed doubles. So that would be later. We would add the men's collection in there.
Right.
But we've actually co-branded this. The line's going to be called Pickleball Partners.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so that's next.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of huge. I mean, that's no like, oh, we're going to put on a cap. Right on. Yeah. So that's fantastic. So let's talk about where, just at the end here, where you see the sport going. I mean, obviously it's growing. I don't think like anybody could really ever expect. It's, with all the celebrity class coming in and the billionaire class coming in, and it just all of a sudden it's just everywhere, and people are asking about it. So talk about where maybe you want the sport to sort of go, in kind of where your heart sits with it right now, and because obviously it can go a number of different ways.
The Olympics would be great. That'd be a great start.
We'll shoot low. We'll just go Olympics.
That would be awesome. And I mean, I think in the school systems too, playing competitively would be very cool. I think the tournaments, I mean, it's phenomenal what pickleball has to offer in terms of tournaments. You could go to any state, any weekend, and
find a place
you
to play.
can play.
Yeah.
So I feel like that has expanded incredibly quickly. And
Michigan State University now has a club pickleball team.
Yeah.
So that's big.
I got kicked off some courts at a high school because they had a club practice and they had like 30 kids for like 2 hours. I was like, this is amazing. Like like you mentioned, once it gets into sort of the institutions and it's all of a sudden you're playing, varsity pickleball. Yeah. Wow. Like then where does it go?
It's going to happen like sooner rather
It is going to happen.
Yeah,
for sure.
And, and there's, I don't want to like,
T-shirts.
I know.
Well, that's the thing,
right?
These universities, like I'll just throw football and basketball out there. There are Nike teams, Adidas teams. Will there be Jojo+Lo Pickleball teams at universities? I mean, I'm just saying.
We are game. We are absolutely game for that. And we also want a Jojo+Lo Pickleball Arena, because we just want one.
Is that a big ask?
At this point, I don't think anything's going to be surprising. Like, we're talking in a year or two now, and you're doing the grand opening, cutting the thing. I'm like,
that would be fantastic. We actually really, most cities have a chicken and pickle or one of those. Right. There's the new one is social. What is the?
Yeah, I saw it. Social. Zane was talking about it this morning on Twitter. I saw something. Yeah.
I could be wrong.
But that would be phenomenal. We really, there's so many players here in mid-Michigan. We just really need a phenomenal facility to kind of match the talent.
The west side of the state has that in Michigan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have
it's coming.
Pickle and social.
Pickle and social. That's it.
Pickle and social. Yeah. Yeah. And how many of those are going to be, all these different ones?
People, we want one.
Right on. Investors. Hey, I think it would probably be an amazing place. Obviously, you run a great company, so you'd be a lot of fun, and it would be obviously. I mean, JoJo would never be around because she's off doing something, but
yeah,
you could run it. I'm just messing with you. Well, hey, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I really appreciate you coming on, and it was worth the wait. Obviously, you're doing phenomenal things. You have phenomenal people in your life supporting you. And I'd love to talk to you in another year and see what's going on then, because, you're already doing huge collaborations. So thank you
Let's
again.
do that. We'll
Yeah,
talk
and
again.
we would love to play pickleball with you forever in New Mexico.
For
How
sure.
fun would that be?
Yeah. If you're ever in the middle of nowhere out here, hey,
I hear there's lots of good fresh veggies out there. So
there's a lot of good fresh veggies. I live against the Gila Wilderness, which is basically a forest that's about the size of Connecticut, and there's no real infrastructure in itself.
Oh, that's incredible.
wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, I got some sort of alarm going on. This is not my house. All right. So thanks again, and we'll talk soon.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Hope you enjoyed our interview being introduced to Jojo and Lo. Again, check out our newsletter. Get your daily fix. All right. Until next time, hey, let's pickle.
Hey, if you're looking for very, very comfortable court shoes, in fact, the most comfortable court shoes I've ever worn, and I've worn a lot of them over the years playing different sports, try Fitville. We have a link in the description that gets you $20 off your purchase.